Hello and welcome to 5 Questions. I'm Tad Mitchell, and today I'm delighted to welcome Sara Eggleston. Sara is the founder of Structured Health Resources. What it is it's a disability management firm. So what she does is she helps individuals and organizations, or her firm helps individuals and organizations prevent and manage disabilities. There's lots of ways to do that, but today the main thing that we're going to focus in on is ergonomics. And with the whole COVID-19 virus thing going on, we got a lot of people working at home in workstations that are less than ideal. So we're hoping to get some ideas here today from Sara on how we can make things better. Sara's been doing this for 16 years, so she's got a lot of experience under her belt. The other neat thing is she's able to provide her services virtually and help people in their homes or workplaces virtually, which is especially useful during these times.
Yeah.
So welcome, Sara. First of all, just want to ask you, how are you doing? How are you weathering the COVID-19 storm, your family, your business?
Yeah, it's a crazy time. I guess I'm very fortunate that I've worked from home for 23 years since I started my practice. So and I feel lucky for having that capacity. So our family is doing well. We have 3 children that are home, and we're having a lot of quality time together, which is one of the unforeseen positive consequences of this pandemic. So, but I'm really excited about the opportunity to reach out and to help people that are working from home. It's a very difficult time trying to adapt to new office environments. And how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's interesting with family at home, but it's been good and bad, good mix.
Yeah.
But let's dive right in here. First question.
Okay, I'm ready.
First question. So if my home, at work, things a lot of times tend to be set up better because somebody did it, for you. It's a purchased workstation, a purchased chair, whatever. But at home, things are less than ideal. We've done it ourselves, do-it-yourself office. So if my home is not set up correctly, what problems could it cause me?
Okay, that's a great question, Tad. So, and I like the way you kind of segue into that, because the difference is at work, somebody else put it together, as you said, and at home, it's your responsibility, which really affords us a great way in which to get people to invest in how they're working. So our approach to ergonomics has been to help people feel empowered in their posture and choices that they make on how they work, versus feeling that a purchase is going to solve kind of their health issue. So when you're working at home, you need to invest time and energy into finding a solution that fits you, and you can't depend on other people, maybe your spouse, to find a solution for you. So it actually presents a great opportunity. However, if you don't invest in that time and try to identify what the best solution is for you, then you're probably compromising your health, which I even had a friend share with me yesterday. It can lead to a lot of irritability. If you're uncomfortable, you feel pain or discomfort, you might be more irritable, you might be more fatigued, you are basically exposing yourself to a potential disability. So it's really important to take time to make that investment. And I hope that through this discussion, we'll give people some very practical ways in which they can make that investment in their health in their home office.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Question number 2 then.
Yep.
I think first of laptops. When I was younger, it seemed fine. Laptop never caused me trouble. Yep. It seems more so and more so. Extended use of a laptop tends to cause me aches and pains and discomfort. So what problems can laptops cause, and how can those problems be mitigated?
So I always like to answer questions about laptops with first saying, what is a laptop and why is it called a laptop? And that's because it was meant to be portable and it was meant to be placed in our lap. All right, so anytime you don't have a laptop in your lap, you possibly are exposing yourself to discomfort. So that, let me say that first. So right now we have access to peripherals. You can get a mouse, you can get a keyboard, you can purchase items and have them, you know, shipped to your home. So this is a real advantage. If a laptop is going to be used in your lap for an hour, no problem. If you're going to use a laptop on top of a dining room table or on a countertop, you might feel discomfort because the laptop, one, for someone as tall as you, the screen's going to be significantly too low, which is going to kind of cause you to kind of lean in and slouch down to view the screen. For someone like me that wears a bifocal, or individuals that wear trifocals, laptops are a little less problematic because the screen's low. We're looking through the lower part of our lens, not as much of an issue, but highly advise individuals to add the external keyboard and mouse and raise that laptop to bring the top of the screen nearly to your eye level, so that when you look across, that you have the top of the screen nearly to your eye level. So our website does structuredhealth.com. We do have a couple videos about setting up your laptop and optimal placement if you want to dive deeper into that.
Okay, so the idea would be, the biggest thing is get the monitor up to your eye level and then use a separate
Yes.
keyboard then, obviously, right?
Absolutely. And again, if you wear a bi or trifocal, it may not be as problematic, because for me, I do work on a laptop and the screen sits on the surface, but it's not, it's an ideal placement for my 5'6" stature and for my lens. So you're taller, you're 6, 2, 3, I'm not sure, maybe even taller than that, Tad, and you would want to have it up on a stand for sure to bring the top of the screen just below your eye level.
Okay, question number 3. Another big thing is chairs. I know at work, I get to sit in a nice Herman Miller chair. At home, I don't have an extra $1,000 laying around to buy a Herman Miller chair, so I sit on whatever's around. What should I consider when I'm picking a chair to sit in all day at home?
Yeah, great question. Just so you know, though, the price of chairs is dropping considerably to attend to the needs of people working from home right now. And you can get a pretty quality chair for around $500. So that's the good news. The challenge is finding the right chair. So I'm going to answer that question in 2 ways. One is I'm going to talk about what is an ideal chair. And then second, I'm going to say, well, what do you do if you don't have that chair and you're not comfortable with purchasing one during this transitional period? So if you, ideally, we always want a chair that has armrests. And I'm going to talk about the method that Structured Health has applied and measured for 23 years that really uses the armrest as a support for the forearm and kind of a go-to posture. So it's really important that a chair have an adjustable armrest that can support your arms when they're placed at, next to your side at approximately a 90-degree angle. That's just an approximate angle. But basically the idea is the armrest goes underneath your relaxed elbow height. And what a relaxed elbow height is when your forearm is just in a vertical position and your elbow's next to your side. That's where your armrest should be on your chair. So I didn't have to lean down. I didn't have to, shrug my shoulder. I just was able to relax my arms. And right now I'm using the armrest on my chair, which allows me to sit back and engage the back of the chair. So I have quality chair here, but even if I was working on, let's say a chair that didn't have adjustable armrests, it's really important that we can rest our body back into the back of the chair. So if you're sitting at a dining room table chair and it's wood, you want to be able to let your body relax into the back of the chair. Very, very important to offload the weight of our spine into the back of the chair. So number 1 important thing, in my opinion, is the chair offer adjustable armrest. Number 2 is that it locks or secures so that you can rest against the back of the chair. And if you are having to sit at a dining room chair and it doesn't have any kind of lumbar support, roll a pillow up, some kind of towel or a small pillow, and kind of put it at the lower part of your back, right above your buttocks, and lean into that. And you'll see that that actually feels really good on your back while you're sitting. What you don't want to do is lean in and reach in because it compromises your lower back. They had a newscast yesterday in Bloomberg about aching backs from working at home. often aching backs are caused when people engage in reaches, and then therefore they're kind of leaning in instead of resting back into their chairs for support.
So that was super useful. Let's on to question number 4. So you actually have a trademarked methodology called mouse with your arm. Could you explain to us, how does that work, and if there's any special considerations for a home office?
So mouse with your arm is a methodology that we trademarked and recently were written up in a peer-reviewed journal called Work about this method. 3,500 people participated in it, and 95% of people had improved comfort and reduced symptoms. So very exciting that it's finally being shared in a professional journal. And the concept is pretty simple. It's kind of like lifting with your legs. People understand when you lift with your legs that you squat, grab the load, keep it close to your body, and lift up that load. Mouse with your arm is a kind of a go-to posture for people to engage in better working neutral postures. And what it is basically what I talked about earlier, the idea that when you use your mouse, you obtain the forearm support for your arm on your chair's armrest. So rather than having your arm or your body touch your work surface, we advise against any contact to the work surface. You actually have your arm supported by the chair's armrest. Are you trying it, Tad? Are you kind of go down and try using your mouth? But the idea is that you want to have your forearm resting comfortably on your armrest. That means that your elbow would be next to your side, and that when you engage in your mouse and you hold your mouse, that you don't have any contact on your work surface, so that all your mousing activity is kind of happening from your elbow and your forearm, not from your wrist. So you're not resting the wrist on the desk, and you're basically using your entire arm to operate the mouse. What happens when you use this go-to posture is that it allows you to continue to sit back in your chair and not lean in and not have contact stress and not put any pressure of the body against the work surface. It's really a very exciting new way of working, in the sense that it's just formally been promoted in print.
I've noticed even for myself that when I'm doing exactly what you're saying, that causes the least amount of pain. But let's say this leads us into question number 5 then, is what if I am experiencing pain? And at least for me, if I'm not working at my normal desk or whatever, yet at home or at work, the pain that I'll feel first tends to be kind of in my wrists. And so what can I do, I don't know, to prevent it? Or even if it starts to happen, what do I do?
Well, and Tad, that's a really important question, especially today, because we are recommended to not seek any kind of medical consult, and only urgent care is provided at this time. So people are obviously staying at home. And so what happens when you're experiencing symptoms, you want to find some remedies that might work for you without seeking medical treatment. Now, I need to be careful. I'm not providing medical advice in answering this question, but I've done this work for 33 years. I can base this on my experience and what I've seen that happens. So when someone reports to their doctor and they say, I'm having numbness, tingling, pain in my wrists or my arms or hands, basically the doctor's going to advise 2 things. And that is to immobilize the wrist, which is to wear a wrist brace, which you can buy for $10 on Amazon today, and also to take an ibuprofen to reduce the swelling and try to allow some recovery of the wrist. So what I want to add is the 3rd item, which is this mouse with your arm methodology, which lets you maintain that neutral wrist. So if you're able to keep your arm so that you're working below your relaxed elbow height, so again, forearms in a vertical position approximately, where your elbow is, you want to make sure that your keyboard and mouse is below that elbow height. So that means that if you're sitting at a dining room chair and your elbow in a relaxed height is 2 inches below your dining room table, that's going to be a problem. You're going to end up compressing your arms on the edge of the desk. You're going to end up having your wrist in a non-neutral posture. Neutral posture means it's not bent. So the reason the doctor recommends an immobilizer is to keep the wrist from being bent, okay? So the goal is, how do you keep your wrist from being bent? And how you do that is you always work below relaxed elbow height. Try using your armrest if it's adjustable, but if it isn't, and if you can't get a quality chair in this time of isolation, at least you can do is sit on pillows and do something to bring your body up higher to your keyboard and mouse so that you're not having to lift up your arms in any way to access your input devices.
So thank you so much for joining us today, Sara. All the tips and techniques you shared with us are super, super appropriate and helpful at this time when many of us are getting more used to using our home offices. So thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Tad. I really appreciate the opportunity. And, you know, just like you said at the start of this interview, people are investing in their own health and looking at their own environment. No one else is solving it for them. So this is a really great time for us to also get a better relationship with our computers, right? We spend more time with our computers than our significant others until this pandemic. Now it's changed. Now we're spending as much time with our significant others as our computers, but that used to be the case. And so it's a really important relationship for us to take time to make sure it's a healthy one. Thanks so much, Tad. I wish you and your family well as well.
Thank you.